Have you ever wondered what it's like to take drugs? Well, I have, but I don't really need to anymore because I've watched Fried Barry. What a trip this fucking movie was. So, this is a Shudder original, and it is. What's it about? Okay. Um, the synopsis will be a spoiler for the entire film because the film is insanely repetitive. Um, so, a guy named Barry. He. Hmm. Is this a spoiler? I don't know. This is a fucking bizarre movie. This is such a bizarre film. Um, Anyways, Barry is a drug addict. He's kind of a deadbeat father, husband, boyfriend, whatever he is. And he's always out getting stoned, and he then gets abducted by aliens. And I guess they fry his brain, but I'm assuming this is just him, metaphorically, like, getting super high, just like, taking too much acid or whatever the fuck he does that fries his brain, but maybe he perceives it as aliens. But then, I don't know. You can't trust anything you see in the movie because nothing makes any sense. So, I don't know. I don't know if, like, he fries his brain and then we're seeing everything through his brain. Like, once he does it, he sees himself as getting abducted by aliens. He sees himself doing all these nonsensical things. That's what makes sense to me. But I don't think the film's supposed to make sense. I feel like the film's just supposed to be a mind fuck, right? Like, that's its purpose. So it's setting out to just be as over the top and weird as it can be. And I think that it does achieve that. Now, does that make the film entertaining I was going to say or interesting. It's interesting. So yes, it's interesting. Entertaining somewhat. There's things in here that will be memorable for many years to come for sure. So if you were to take a general mediocre film and ask me anything about it, I would say I don't fucking remember anything about this movie. But when it comes to Fried Barry, this is one of those scenarios where while I do find the film to be underwhelming, there are memorable things, so maybe it achieved what it was going for, or maybe that, props it up higher as far as like a rating goes. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to feel about that. Troll 2 is memorable for being awful. Now, but that does make it better than unmemorable awful movies, right? Like if you watched an awful movie that had nothing going for it in any way, even unintentional humor, then the movie that's hilariously bad and actually makes you laugh and have a good time watching it is far and away the better film. One gives you no joy, nothing at all. The other one makes you laugh and have a great time and even want to go back. I've seen Troll 2 numerous times. Some people have seen The Room, the Tommy Wiseau film, like 1,000 fucking times. I guess pick your poison on that one. I guess at the end of the day, this is a very bizarre film that I didn't really like that much, but I'll never forget it, and there's very memorable scenes. It's just, and the actor who plays Barry here, I do think that he does a good job of what's asked of him, albeit repetitive. But he really definitely commits himself to being absolutely fried out of his mind the entire film and just walking around like and then like just sitting there and staring and looking around, and it's and he's just seeing all this wacky shit, and he goes through all these different events with different people. One involving a hooker that's like, what the fuck? And then when we come back to that character later in the film, it's 10 times what the fuck. And it is one of those films where you're at the end, even though there's probably no answer. Maybe there is, but you can't help but ask yourself, like, what does this all mean? What was the purpose of this? Was it just intending to be weird? Or did it have some kind of message behind it that maybe someone who does drugs is going to get better than someone who doesn't? I don't know. Honestly, I'm completely confused and baffled by this film, but to say I wasn't entertained at all would be a lie. I mean, there's things in it. It also reminded me, yes, I think one of the comparisons that you'll see is like a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is 100 times better than this, 1,000 times better than this. I love Fear and Loathing. But, you know, that's Terry Gilliam. And I don't even know who this director is. But, whatever. There is a scene in here that feels ripped right out of Natural Born Killers. Like just an homage or a ripoff or whatever you want to call it. When they're in the car and there's all this, shit going on around outside the car that isn't, the outside world. It's like footage of things, and like you've seen in Natural Born Killers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say without me myself becoming like this movie, repetitive. But yeah, I mean, if you're really into like super trippy, what the fuck is going on type of films, where a guy walks around looking like his brain is fried from drugs, and then the world around him not really making any sense at all, like, and there's total contradictions here and there, but as I said, it's like seen through his eyes, so I don't think we can accept anything that's seen on film after the abduction, whatever the fuck actually happens there. So bizarre film, but memorable. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I watched it, and I'm not recommending it unless you're into super trippy movies. If you do check it out, let me know. Adios.